Everybody's here. Let's start. Just right on time. Okay, great. Congratulations, everybody. We are in core. That's our first patch. We have enough materials for a second patch. I would like to add a few more tests. Not every process plugin is tested yet, and the actual filter format test is not testing anything. These are small things. I will add them, submit the second core patch. After that, my battle plan is that he will. Uh, uh, I for myself will go over the Drupal 6 update and look for things that are not quite entities and file issues for them to make sure that we cover them, because the things that are entities, we essentially have them covered, or will have them covered very easily. We already have the source plugins posted from D2D. The entity destinations, sometimes we need a small class to extend them. Most of the time we won't need. If you think of it, entities, while the storage and the logic have changed a lot, obviously since 6, the internal representation, if you consider just an array of things, it didn't change a lot, right? I mean, we didn't rename things like node status, node title, haven't even moved node title into a field. We did move body into a field, but didn't change that thing is still called the body. So on, so on, so on. So these are easy. So once again, I am going to file issues for the non-entity things, while Brand and Mike seemed to be on track to finish, and others. It seems we are on track of finishing the missing unit test coverage for the two big clusters, the two big, how to say, inherited clusters. And I hope that Marco will continue on nodes and fields. I haven't actually checked whether we have the CCK fields on nodes yet or not. I hope we will got them. So I believe that's where we are. Jacinto was finishing the variables config issues. So I know I have asked Katie that now she's back from vacation to continue fixing the missing doxygen. So this is basically our plan. I'm gonna add it in here, and we are going to copy paste it somewhere.
Do we have a separate notes Google Doc?
I don't think so. Could open one. I'm just going to copy this for now into chat, and then I'm going to post it on Group the Bar. Okay. Thanks, Mike. I can
Mike.
put it out.
Good.
Okay.
And then sometime today, if we can talk about how the logistics of how to work on things, because now that there's a core thing in, I'm not so clear on how to use a sandbox or patches or issues in.
We are going to continue the single sandbox. We are now on the 8.0 branch. Okay, so Mike, I can't edit that. Okay. Marco, go ahead.
Okay, so yesterday night I incorporated all core into the sandbox in the sandbox project, and in the let me just share my screen. It's just cleaner that way, I think. How do I share my screen here? Here, like this. So you can see my window now. Do you see my window now?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So basically, I have added core, and I basically do one first commit on top of the current master branch to actually move directories inside the core modules migrate directory to avoid conflicts, and then actually do a merge with the current at the point just after the commit with in core. So my initial idea is to do not merge with core in any point of time, only after patches get in, so we have a cleaner workflow. If you have any other suggestions, I would like to hear about that, because it can be a little tricky to actually include changes in patches in the official ISO core QE, but not having them inside the IMP sandbox, and the other way around too. So we need to have it clear how it's going to work.
I think that I don't really see the problem. If I need to roll a patch, I am rolling a patch against the upstream Git remote. From time to time, I presume that we are going to update the core repo. I guess when the migrate patch lands, I don't see any problems here. Marco, what problems do you see?
Basically, synchronization. So if someone, I assume that core patches will be generated based on IMP sandbox. But yesterday, for example, when I do the first merge, I encountered one addition in the patch that was not in the IMP sandbox. That was the migrate API.php file.
That should be extremely rare. That's basically a violation of somehow. I do not even know how that happened. I really don't know how that happened. Right? That shouldn't occur. This shouldn't occur.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just stick with that then. The idea then will be generate patches only based on the IMP sandbox,
Yes.
and that would help.
Yes.
Okay, so I have a question then. So if I'm working on the doc stuff and I just fix them
Yes.
anywhere in the sandbox, when we're not going
Yes.
to pick and choose which fixes go into the next core patch, then it's just going to be like, well, here's all the stuff that we have so far, big next core patch.
More so. I'm still unsure. So Git can separate modifications on existing files and additional new files. For a time, we could basically separate patches. You could say that here are a bunch of bug fixes and Docker, and here is the user format migration, for example. Or we could just merge the two together and say, here are a bunch of fixes and the filter for not migration. That's something I guess for me to decide how to handle. I'm going to go to the coordinators how they would like to have it. I think lumping in the fixes with whatever migration we submit is going to be fine. I am basically I am rolling at I have a list of files that are needed for the filter migration. I take those, I take the changes, and that's what I am preparing for corpus number 2. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just work in the 8.x branch in the sandbox, and let you worry about how you're going to present it to the core issue queue.
Yeah.
I think they would prefer to have, you know, things broken up into chunks so that it's easier for them to review. But I don't know. But I won't worry about it for now.
Okay, so Ryan, what you have posted has absolutely no peering the migration. None. We have discussed that we will completely separately handle revisions. There's a separate save a separate save revision function. It doesn't matter how Seven does it. We're doing it completely differently. There's no problem with this. I don't even know what to do with this task. I mean, yeah, source plugin, yes, that's good. That's the task, but we are not doing. But we are not doing what Migrate was doing. We have discussed this last week. That's not what we are doing.
It seems like we lost Mike.
Yeah, it seems so. But yeah, I hope that he was already doing the SQL test, so I was hoping that he will just continue doing them. Yeah, I was doing notes. Oh yeah, so another task that I need to do is to split migrate module into migrate the framework and migrate the migrate Drupal modules. I have discussed the naming yesterday with Angie, and the module will be called migrate Drupal, which is going to be where the actual migrations live. To button UI that we have discussed is going to live. Any special process plugins that need to happen will live, and so on. Oh, Mike, you just missed that what was called migrate D2D in the 7 will be called migrate Drupal. In Drupal 8, I have talked to Angie last night about the desired naming, and it is implied that the destination is Drupal, basically.
So you mean the source is Drupal, right? The destination is always Drupal.
Well, yeah, so the reason it is not called migrate Drupal to Drupal, because the destination is always Drupal, right? So there's no need to put that in. If somebody writes a module that will import from WordPress, that's going to be called migrate WordPress.
Yeah.
So we will just call it migrate Drupal and not migrate D3.
Yeah, it makes complete sense.
Okay. So I put my notes in the Google Doc. Let me drop the URL again. Please everybody look at it. Check whether you are okay. Not everybody. I didn't assign tasks to everybody. I do not yet I can't yet hand out new issues. I will work on them so that people are not actually blocked because of the lack of issues. If you have nothing to work on and you want to work on something today or tomorrow, feel free to pick one of the unit tasks. There are many. There are many. So, and then we will have, as I have mentioned, sources and destinations for the non-entity things that we need to have. Yeah. But Marco, for you, really the most important is getting the. I don't think that we have the fields on the node, do we? That still needs to be migrated from D2D, right?
Yeah, we still lack the field. We are not really retrieving the fields, and I think also the patches for field configuration and field instances are still in process to get in.
Yes, but I think they are ready. I just need to commit them. I'm going to look at them and commit them, and then we can basically do this. I fully expect that. I know that this sounds impossible, but in less than a month, I expect to be finished at 6.
That's a good target.
I simply do not see any impossible challenges. People are getting up to speed. I am very sorry about the unit testing hurdle people have faced at the Portland sprint. I didn't expect that people are going to be blogged on not knowing what mock objects are, but seems that now people are past that and doing and adding the missing testing. Really, I think we are on a good track. I will coordinate with Mike probably next week once the tests are done. I will ask Mike to switch to write a batch API runner for this whole thing, or much rather port it from 7 because it's mostly done. It just needs to be ported over.
Okay.
Any
questions?
Yeah, one question about the renaming and the split of the into modules inside the code. Do we have a timeline for that? Because we will be probably getting some conflicts on local commits we have after the move of files. So would be good to know like when we should be expecting that move.
Why? I don't know why would you get it. I mean, the moment you commit something, you push it, right? So I don't know why there would be any local conflict.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that could work too. Yeah, I usually have local commits before actually send them, but it's fine. I can just push
Yeah,
them.
basically don't do that. That just leads it just leads to conflict. It's not good. I mean, if we want to, I can schedule it. I can post ahead of the time when I'm going to do it. But I don't know it myself when I'm going to do it yet. Probably would be healthier before the second core patch.
Okay.
The reason for two modules, right, is that once people have migrated from 6 to 8, they don't want to have 100 YAML files lying around which do nothing for them. So that's one thing that just needs to be moved into a separate place.
But by the way, is Migrate Drupal going to be core too, or
Yes.
Migrate Drupal would? Okay.
Oh yeah, that it's just it's. I mean, it needs to. It is going to contain the 6 to 7, the 6 to 8, and the 7 to 8 migrations,
Oh yeah,
and
that's
any
right.
special and any special process plugins needed for that. Migrate itself is going to contain the generic process plugins, the configuration entity, the ID map, and so on and so on and so on. Basically
Okay.
everything generic, which is most of. So the sources which we have are going to go into this new module. The YAML files we have will go into this new module, but everything else that we have so far, I believe, are generic. So I think they're good that direction. Okay. Any other questions?
That was it for me.
Okay, I think then we are done, and don't hesitate to ask me on IRC if you get blocked. Right now, what most people can work on is probably the tests. There are a lot of those outstanding. Thank you everybody for the work. It's amazing that we are already in core. We started this whole thing in Prague, which was just 2 months ago, and we are already in core. So I am really hopeful that we will very soon have 6 in the bag. Then we will need 7 in the bag, which will only be slightly harder because of the fields, and of course multilingual. Oh yes, is anybody here working with multilingual? If not, then we will need to recruit someone from the D8MI team. So nobody. Okay.
Well, there's me. I mean, I know some Drupal 8 multilingual things, but I don't have any experience with any multilingual things from 6 or 7.
Well, there's nothing in 6. There's no content translation. There's no entity translation. Locale is fairly easy to bring over. Okay.
Yeah, and maybe Ryan too.
Okay,
So
great.
we can start out with talking with us, and then for sure we can connect with whoever's in DAMI, that needs to.
Yes, I absolutely have no knowledge on. Maybe we already have the upgrade. I haven't even looked on how this, content translation became entity translation and whatever and whatever and whatever. I don't even know. That I believe is a longer term problem.
Yeah, and also Daniel.
Daniel?
Yeah, Daniel Vena. He's keeping an eye on the migrate stuff, and he's also got half an eye on the multilingual stuff. So.
Yeah, well, he got an eye on everything on 8 obvious, but yeah. We will see how that goes. Okay. I think we are done. I'm glad that we have somebody who knows some IATN that's going to be necessary. And thank you, everybody. I do hope that BVB we will continue to make very swift progress. It is possible that we actually, talking of core patches, it is possible that we will simply have multiple parallel core patches. One for fixes, one for filters, as they come.
Yeah, I think the core people will like it if we can somehow split them up by topic.
Yeah, well, the fixes are not going to be split by topic. Then that would be absolutely unmaintainable. Then I would need to submit a core patch basically every time I almost submit to the sandbox, right? 2 lines of bug fixes here and there. That's absolutely not maintainable with the pace that core is making. So there is going to be like a potpourri of fixes. 5 fixes.
Do we lose Carly?
Okay, I guess we lost Trix there. Is there any last comments? Final questions before we move forward?
Yeah, maybe the question to ask now is does anybody needs any task?
Say again, if what needs any task?
No, I guess a good question to ask now would be if any one of us do not have any task in mind to work for now, it would be a good time to point into the right direction. But I guess we all have something in mind now.
Yeah, if anyone feels underutilized, there are 100 open issues in the queue.
Yeah, great.
Okay, well, let's get to it, and we'll talk again next week.